Scientific research forms the foundation of our understanding of the world around us. It offers us explanations behind life as we know it. Yet within the scientific community, women are still poorly represented. This short film explores some of the reasons behind why this is and looks at the emergence of an exciting new innovation that may provide some of the solutions to these problems. But first, we wanted to find out if students are aware of this and what their thoughts are on it. So we set up an interactive photo booth at the University of Exeter, Cornwall campus to hear what they had to say.
I didn't think that was still happening. I didn't think that men would still earn more money than women.
Well, that's a bit unequal and it's not really fair.
I would have thought it would be a lot higher than that.
There's a really sad statistic.
I do mining engineering and there are 3 people in my course that are female.
If it's an interview with a scientist, back in, certainly when I was younger, it's always you'd think of an old man in a lab coat with a big beard.
I think female role models are really key to students kind of gaining the confidence to realise they can be successful in a science career.
But you see people do science courses. There's quite a lot who are girls who do the science courses. Yeah. So
What, like zoology?
yeah, like why aren't they going like further up? Do you know what I mean?
I think people are becoming more adaptable and they can find solutions to like overcoming having kids. I mean, the women in the department here, I think Sarah Hodge is a brilliant example of how you can kind of pick yourself back up in a matter of months. Like, I think she's a real inspiration.
We decided to interview Dr. Sarah Hodge, who is a senior lecturer in zoology at the College of Life and Environmental Sciences, about her experience as a woman and mother in science.
I think the biggest problem that women face in science is that they just tend to lack confidence. I know that I lack confidence, and I think women struggle with that particularly. And I think when you're trying to pursue a scientific career, then you need to have quite a lot of faith in your own abilities to succeed, and I think women often struggle with that a little bit. I can certainly think of times where my own lack of confidence has meant that I've not done things that I really should have done. It would really help. Well, one thing that does really help is having some senior women as role models, people that have gone through the system and are in positions of power and, you know, are managing to have a life and a scientific career at the same time. I think that if we want to keep women in science, particularly at higher levels, then we absolutely have to make sure that women are able to have children and have a scientific career. I've found it really easy actually, and I think that's partly because I've had a lot of support from the department. So they've allowed me to come back 3 days a week. They've allowed me to adjust my hours so that I can fit that in with childcare. So I'm feeling very supported. But I think that I'm just very lucky that I work in a department where people really believe in this. And I know that colleagues of mine in other departments have really struggled.
Athena SWAN is about the commitment to developing STEM environments free from discrimination while promoting equal opportunities. Iris Boudier is the Equality and Diversity Project Officer for CLES in Cornwall and helps with the coordination of Athena SWAN in the department.
Athena SWAN is a charter for women in science in academia, and it's also a charter that supports good working environment for all staff, men and women. Well, what we have noticed, we have what we call our pipeline, and that's where we see where we start having less women in the department, and really the first point where women are kind of disappearing, you know, that's what we call the leaky pipeline, is at ECR levels, that's early career researcher, and you know, research fellows. University joined the charter in 2011, and CLES Cornwall received a bronze award in 2013. Well, I think what Athena SWAN has done is it's really helped universities realise that there was an underrepresentation of women in STEM subjects. CLES Cornwall has put several initiatives in place, including a gender balance at open days. We have the Springboard program, which is a personal development program for women. Last year, the Sprint program for female undergraduates was also launched. And again, we had great feedback. So in 2010, we had 26% of women in the department, and now we have 40% of women. And that was since we launched the Athena SWAN program in the department. It's in particular is targeted at women because there is this underrepresentation of women in STEM disciplines, but it really promotes a great working environment for all staff.
Professor Brendan Godley is the Director of the Centre for Ecology and Conservation. We talked to him to find out more about the progress of the Athena SWAN programme in the department.
Obviously, I've been here on the campus since it began 10 years ago, and nobody had heard of the Athena SWAN initiative. But then Professor Nina Waddell brought the whole initiative to our attention. I mean, everybody has to be involved in the Athena SWAN programme, whether it be men or women or senior or junior people, and actually, you know, students themselves. The processes that we've put in place to make sure that we weren't being subject to unconscious bias against women in recruitment processes, or unconscious bias into who we give glory of doing the big introductions to talks, or it actually has made us reflect on fairness. And obviously a more fair place and a fairer system is a better place for everybody to be, and we need to put in checks and balances to make sure that people that have done all these years training don't end up being lost from the system because of the vagaries of it.
Athena SWAN is also tackling the issue of the progression and retention of women in science. There are a number of personal and structural obstacles to women making the transition into sustainable academic careers. So, what do our undergrads think about going into careers in academia? We spoke to 3 third-year undergraduates about their aspirations and being a woman in science.
After I finish my undergraduate, I would like to go into possibly being a research assistant or a lab assistant.
I'm going to study a master's degree at Bristol in global wildlife health and conservation.
I'd like to get into the science communication sector.
I've chosen this career path because I originally wanted to work for the RSPB or the National Trust. However, I felt that I would miss the science, I would miss actually studying and doing research.
I've also realised that organising events that inspire and give other people the opportunity to learn is actually more rewarding to me than actually knuckling down into my own research.
On the 9th of March 2015, men and women across the university pledged to support gender equality in science for International Women's Day. While facts and figures show us that there is still an unequal representation of women in science, Athena SWAN is becoming increasingly more recognised. The future for equality in science looks bright.